Here with Alex Atkins to talk a little bit about the offensive line going into the preseason. Alex, how much has this offseason helped that group with there being so many young guys that did get some experience last year, thrown in the fire, learn a little bit in real time?
More continuity than anything. Learning that it's not about the individual. So, I thought the group did a good job of taking ownership in the group. And that's something that they felt like they hadn't had, where they can direct themselves and build a relationship and want to genuinely play for each other. I think out of all the things that happen, we could talk about practices and all that, but the group coming together and having a lot of those guys back is going to see the benefit of that more than even the practices and the weight room and everything else.
I know Devontay Love-Taylor is still coming back from the injury, so he was somewhat limited, but what's the leadership that he gives that group and the veteran experience now that he has been here for over a year?
Just service. He wanted to serve and get the room as best he could before he left. And I think him taking a step back with the injury and kind of getting to observe the group, how we were in practice, how we were in meetings, gave him a lot of insight. And the number one thing he has, we can talk about leadership qualities through the roof, the trust of the people in the room. You can have leadership qualities, but people in the room don't listen to you or trust what you're saying, it don't matter. So what I give Devontay a lot of credit for is building a relationship with the men in the room and then having that relationship, which allows him to lead because they know he has their best interests.
Dylan Gibbons is kind of similar in the sense of having the experience at the college game, but obviously only been here about 3 months now. How has he integrated himself into that room so quickly?
He's building relationships. That's how it starts. And if a guy asks, you give them, what they need, but it starts off by getting the guys in the room to trust you first. And once you get that, then you can start, pushing and kind of getting guys to be uncomfortable. But the first thing he's doing, I think he's doing a great job of, is establishing relationships.
Another gray beard in that room is Baveon Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Been here for 6 years. Mm-hmm. Coach praised him for buying in, changing the body some, just kind of taking to what you guys are preaching. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from Baveon in your dealings with him?
Just the strongest thing in the world is a made-up mind. And once he made his mind up, it showed. And, now I'm looking for the consistency of the made-up mind. So as he continues, I'm proud of his progress, but I can't wait to watch how strong it is going through this preseason camp.
Are there any young guys that have made a big leap in your view, in your estimation of what you've seen from them during the spring and into the summer program?
I don't want to, call it out yet. I'm interested to see as we go forward. But what I will say about the young guys is what helped them was having a little bit of a culture when they got here. That's the main thing, because they're going to adapt to immediately what they see. If there's a standard set, they're going to try to reach that standard because there's no other choice. So I give the vets the credit for getting that standard in place, and I give the young guys for understanding and wanting to be a part of the standard. So I'm looking forward to seeing those guys grow.
Is that culture, that standard, that expectation among that room and the leadership of that room, is that maybe the greatest difference from the day you were hired here versus today as you prepare for your second season with the bunch?
Well, just self-accountability. We all can find somebody else to blame. But the guys in that room, if you talk to former players, they're going to bring up the head coach, and they'll bring up position coaches and coordinators, but the main thing they'll talk about is the people they played with. Those are long-lasting relationships. So I just thought our group did a better job of understanding that they have to build with each other, and then all the greatness will come. So that's what I'm more proud of.
Coach also spoke on Dante Lucas as a guy who's a little bit more of a veteran, but kind of in the in-between, pushing him, trying to get him to be more, realize his ability. What have you seen from Dante? How has he taken to, kind of the forcefulness of the staff?
Awesome. Coaches, we have to take a little bit of the blame for maturing guys because the recruiting process has become very gratifying. What can you do for me? What I like about Dante is he's been very humble. He's really, like you talk about Devontay Love-Taylor, he has a great relationship with him. So Dante's learned, I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for him too. It's us. So I give him a lot of credit for that. I'm waiting to see the results and the fruit of that labor.
How much do you expect to cross-train that group as a whole during the preseason?
That's all we do, because at the end of the day, it's a unit, and we have to be able to perform in multiple spots. That way you're putting the best player in and not just the guy behind the guy. So cross-training is going to be a must.
Last year it was somewhat a necessity because of lack of depth. How much do you like that you do have a lot of bodies available? I think you got 15, 16 going into preseason.
The training that part of it really doesn't we got to be ready to cross-train no matter what the situation is. The more bodies, the more cross-training. We can't say, we got depth now, so we're not going to cross-train. I think the reason why we were able to survive is because that's the way it was established in the beginning. And the lumps come and all that good stuff, but guys now feel more confident in work because they have been played in multiple spots, so it's not as a drastic change as one would think.
Thanks, Alex.
No problem.